Let's go to Hannity, because if anybody believes in America, it's Hannity right now. Oh, Biden's weak response to Russian invasion. Wouldn't you think? That's just me spitballing here. By the way, don't forget to like and subscribe, give a thumbs up, make a comment below. If you just say, hey, nice going, or I hate your face. Any of those things work. It's great. I just like the engagement. It helps us with the algorithm. Especially when this is a clip later on. If you go to infotainmentwars.com on YouTube, there's a lot of clips, smaller segments of the longer show. You can go on there and like some and spread some around, share them, that kind of thing. But in the midst of all this, the big question is America weak right now? Did Putin smell blood in the water? And is that why he's finally going after Ukraine? Or could it be that the demographics of Russia are such that his military is going to be half the size it is in about 10 years, and he's really not going to have another chance? He's old. He's going to get broomed. And if he wants to reunify this part of it and seal his legacy as the guy who did it and protect his power base as he ages, this is pretty much it. He's done. Now, Trump was supposed to hand it to him in a second term, but he fucking lost. And so they're stuck now. But when they say weak response to Russian invasion, I'm curious as to what they think would be an appropriate response. Because if this is weakness, then explain to me what you think strength is. Sean Hannity, Laura Ingraham, tell me what the strong response should be. Put your policy money where your mouth is. That's what I say. Okay, so let's go back to here. Here we go. This is,
My administration is using the tools, every tool at its disposal to protect American families and businesses from rising prices at the gas pump. We're taking active steps to bring down the cost, and American oil and gas companies should not exploit this moment to hike their prices.
Is he threatening a nuclear strike?
I have no idea what he's threatening. I know what he has done, number one. And number two, no one expected the sanctions to prevent anything from happening.
You said in recent weeks that big nations cannot bluff when it comes to something like this. You recently said that the idea of personally sanctioning President Putin was on the table. Is that a step that you're prepared to take? And if not,
it's not a bluff, it's on the table.
Sanctioning President Putin?
By the way, they did that today.
Yes.
Why not sanction him today, sir?
Mr. President?
Why not?
Because they were taking steps. Otherwise, there's nowhere to go. Once you fuck the guy, he's like, well, I'm fucked anyways. Might as well just take the whole thing.
Mr. President, if I can.
Also, the definition of sanctioning a head of state based on their actions, you have to have a legal basis for it. It's kind of because sanctions in a lot of ways, they don't come off after the action stops. It's not a tourniquet. It's an amputation.
They are profound sanctions. Let's have a conversation in another month or so to see if they're working.
Well, let's find out in a month. And by the way, it was Kamala Harris that said that sanctions would deter Vladimir Putin. That's not a way forward. John McCain actually once said Russia is a gas station masquerading as a country. The only way to really deter Putin and his cronies, there is a way to defeat Putin and push him back, and it doesn't require one bullet to be fired, one American boot on the ground. It is to degrade Russia's oil and gas capabilities. That is his financial lifeline. Now, before his speech.
Right. But you also have to black out half of Europe in the process. And you can basically dissuade them from it over a short period of time, but you've got to set up a structure like with natural gas, which is what we did with Qatar and these other countries, to supply natural gas to Europe in this particular situation. Nord Stream 2 is done. The question is now, are we blowing up Nord Stream 1? My guess is yes.
Biden should have lifted all major restrictions on all drilling, all fracking, all exploration.
Oh, by the way, that's the other thing, is that you attack Russia by drilling in Anwar, by drilling off of every American coast, by turning America into the Russian cesspool of oil production that it is. The thing that makes it unlivable in large swaths of that country are the fact that it looks like shit. It's full of toxins because they're just the only thing they do is extract toxic materials from the ground and sell them. That's his answer. That's it. Turn America into a big, just put a pump fucking everywhere. Sea to oily sea. Just fuck it. That's how you do it. Not, by the way, and that's not choking off Russia. They're still going to sell their shit over there. And as far as natural gas goes, you have to freeze it to transport it on a boat. That's a big pain in the ass. That's why pipelines are so meaningful with liquid natural gas. Because it's been frozen down and then it turns into a gas again. It's a gas after all. Whereas oil, you can put it in a fucking barrel and it'll just sit there. But that just goes out onto the open market. If Saudi Arabia is not going to increase their output and Russia's not going to increase their output, all we're going to do is sell our shit on the open market and anybody can buy it. We're not going to deny China the right to buy it, for example. And if they jack up the price, that's who the oil companies are going to sell it to. Right out of the ground underneath the United States.
He should have convened a meeting with America's top energy producing companies and encouraged every one of them to produce energy like never before. He should have.
Yes, that's right. That's what it is. Unless the president brings them together and encourages Shell and Exxon and all the big natural gas companies, unless he encourages them, they're not going to produce at a level. Now, he's gathered them and he said we need to increase output, but he's got to encourage them. You know, thanks, Sean. Yeah, he needs to get them around, maybe bake them all a fucking cake.
Lifted every restriction that he imposed, including the permanent hold on new drilling in Alaska and ANWR.
No, that did not affect the amount of oil in the system at all. It wouldn't for years. All it would do is dirty up aquifers. We need water more than we need oil. You're a fucking idiot. And insofar as Trump,
they don't like the gas.
Mm-hmm.
Suspension of new drilling on all federal lands and the pause of new permits for offshore drilling. He should have also made guarantees to supply our out.
Again, the pause on new permits is not affecting current oil supply, nor would it for another fucking year.
With the energy that they need through American oil, American coal, and American liquefied natural gas. That didn't happen today. In fact, just the opposite. According to the White House, the sanctions are not designed to cause any disruption of the flow of Russian energy to the rest of the world.
Right. Because it would cause blackouts in Europe, which would kind of limit our ability to push back on them right now. And the oil and gas oligarchs are all for this, while everybody else is like, what the fuck is happening? Also, most of this oil and gas is coming from Kazakhstan, for example. Yes, it's flowing through, but it's not coming from the lands up north. It's St. Petersburg, parts of Siberia, and Kazakhstan. And as Kazakhstan gets more money, they're listening to Russia less.
Joe Biden is going to allow Putin to continue to get rich and Russia to get even more rich under Putin.
Yes, you can make all this money on oil and gas. You can't spend it on anything except food for your people.
Under Biden, even the United States, look at these numbers. Why are we importing nearly over 600,000 barrels of oil from Russia?
Because it's cheap.
Every single day. And keep in mind that the Keystone XL pipeline that Biden killed while giving.
And by the way, when Russia runs out, they run out. If we use up ours, we run out first. There's an argument for buying a lot of it for as long as we did before we shift to cranking up our production on an open market that requires it. And one of those things is we shift from consumer cars using oil and gas to them being largely electric or hybrid. Because then all the oil and gas that we're producing in the country, the majority of it can be sold on the open market because we don't fucking need it. And the rest of it can be used as airplane fuel, or it can be used as to run factories or the like.
Nord Stream 2 waiver to Putin, that could pump 830.
Relying on Russia without Keystone. That's Canadian tar sands oil, fucko. 595 kW import from Russia. 830K per, if Keystone XL pipeline was operational. Yeah, it doesn't come into the United States. That's just to the open market. It goes into our Great Lakes and then out into the ocean. That's not our oil. That's Canadian oil. And it's shit. It's incredibly difficult to process.
1,000 barrels of oil a day. And get this, even...
Yeah, and oil is oil. I mean, look at the barrel says oil. It's got a yellow top. All oil is the same. What's the difference?
1 million barrels of Iranian oil were imported last March, the first time since 1991. Now, sadly, Joe will not revive the Keystone XL pipeline. He won't encourage more.
Yes, sadly, for Justin Trudeau, the single most angered politician about tar sands, about the Keystone XL pipeline. I don't know why you don't have him on the show, Sean. Bring on Justin Trudeau. I'm sure he would be very upset. He would love to bitch about the Keystone XL pipeline.
Oil and gas production right here in the U.S. He won't do anything to increase our production. Biden takes...
I mean, this is even fucking hard. New data. Biden's first-year drilling permitting stomps Trump's by 34%. Thousands of permits okay despite president's authority to end drilling by 2035. New federal data shows the Biden administration approved 3,557 permits for oil and gas drilling on public lands in its first year, outpacing the Trump administration's first-year total of 2,658. Nearly 2,000 of the drilling permits were approved on public lands administered by the Bureau of Land Management's New Mexico office, followed by 843 in Wyoming, 285 in Montana and North Dakota, 191 in Utah, and in California, the Biden administration approved 187 permits, more than twice the 71 drilling permits that Trump approved in the state in his first year. The number of oil and gas permits put forward by the Biden administration is 34% higher than the first year of the Trump administration. And the Biden administration is still on schedule to meet its net zero goals, even with those additional permits. Honest to fucking God, this isn't hard. This isn't like, believe me, there's a staffer who just got fired, more than likely, at Sean Hannity show, who went, Sean, this is, I mean, Biden's got, 34%, almost a third more than a third more permits than Trump did. This is from the Center for Biological Diversity, because life is good. But this is federal data. Hold on. We'll go straight to the thing. Allow downloads. Okay. This will be a page that they gave out. Moink. Let's pop this out. Oh, get out of here. That's one of my pictures. Where'd you go? There it is. Oh, that's a chart. They sent, it's a, let's see. This federal data, Bureau of Land Management, New Mexico office. Let's see. On Wednesday, more than 30. I'll have to download that because I don't have a program to open that file. Peer-reviewed science estimates that a nationwide federal fossil fuel leasing ban would reduce carbon emissions by 280 million tons per year, ranking it as the most ambitious federal climate policy proposal in recent years. So they are doing this on schedule. Federal fossil fuels that have not been leased to industry contain up to 450 billion tons of potential climate pollution. Also, the already leased to industry contain up to 43 billion tons. And they're talking about carbon released into the air. And there are carbon sinks, the ocean, forests, and the like beyond technology that we'll put towards it. But this in and of itself it's just, I mean, this is so baseline. The Biden administration has stopped offshore drilling and moved a lot of the permits to physical land in places like Wyoming and other places, vast open places where they're not near aquifers and where the chances of an accident are very low. Unlike off the coast of Louisiana, where they were bitching about the drilling there because these fucking monstrosities. Notice how Trump was always like, oh, windmills look like shit. They ruin the view from all these beaches. But this is fine? The fuck are you talking about? They're doing this where there's water, where the land is, should be accessible, where it's beautiful. Stuff you want to keep, worth looking at, place where there's tourist industries or fisheries. And meanwhile, they're opening up drilling on, basically in Nevada and Wyoming, wide open spaces where it won't affect anything as best they can to offset the amount of oil and gas we need. For fuck's sake. And there's nobody at Sean Hannity's fucking show that doesn't know this. Good Lord.
Orders from the radical climate alarmists that is the cult of the Democratic New Green Deal Party in America. And right now on cue, Biden's climate czar.
By the way, I love when he hits the desk because he knows that the 5 or 10 words he just sewed together make no fucking sense. These kind of things with the people and the Green New Deal Democrats destroying that kind of thing.
Here he is, John Kerry. He's whining that war in Ukraine is distracting from his important mission to save the world from global warming. This is where his mind is at today? Take a look.
Massive emissions consequences to the war, but equally importantly, you're going to lose people's focus. You're going to lose certainly big country attention because they will be diverted, and I think it could have a damaging impact. So I hope President Putin will help us to stay on track with respect to what we need to do for the climate.
John, he doesn't care about your climate agenda.
And neither does Sean Hannity. It's something he and Putin have in common, John. Also, that's a reasonable concern to have. In the same way that, what's a good example? You've got someone who knows that they are eating their way towards heart disease. So you've got them on a diet to fix that, to slow that progression until you can reverse it. And you know that heart disease will ultimately kill them if they don't moderate their diet in some way. And somewhere along the way, they are, because of weather, they have to hide in their tornado bunker for a few months on end, and all that's down there is Jim Baker pancake mix and baked fucking beans, which is not exactly the heart-healthy diet you had them on. And it's going to distract from that heart-healthy diet and may set them back in their eating habits a few years when indeed long-term you are trying to save their life from another way that they could die. It's a reasonable concern to have. Your cardiologist has different concerns than the person who gives you motorcycle insurance.
You have to be a complete idiot to say what you just said and believe what you just said. And this is
Well, that's how I define your show, Sean.
Guy, John Kerry, flying around the world in his private jet, lecturing we, the American people, about our carbon footprint. Now, clearly
No, largely he's lecturing the rest of the world and presenting the plans that we, the American people, put into effect by electing who we elected last time. We made that choice. The voter
administration, they seem to care more about their radical green agenda than actual peace and actual security.
Hey, dumbass. That's his job. I mean, are you bugging Dr. Fauci about the military? Are you asking him his opinion on the battlefield? A lot of people are not managing to be 6 feet apart. Are they wearing masks? It's nice. They're wearing balaclavas, so maybe that'll help. But it's not enough. They need an N95.
This is delusional, but this is where we are. With war on the European continent once again, and of course the mob and the media, they promised this wouldn't happen. They told us that Biden was a foreign policy expert. He put Vladimir Putin in.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean we can control lunacy from someone else. We do respect how he's managing this. And Trump, of course, was going to hand Ukraine to Putin, and now he's just got to steal it. That's
place.
That's the reality.
He's the only one, he said, that went toe-to-toe with Vladimir. In June, world-class idiot Jennifer Rubin authored this glowing article in the Washington Post entitled, "The Biggest Winner in the Biden-Putin Summit, Democracy." Care to take that back? Anyway, a few months later.
No, we're still standing for democracy. We're still standing for Ukraine, and your fucking network and your buddy Tucker Carlson are against it. He's citing I guess the big winner on Fox News is Vladimir Putin, but in the rest of the fucking world, we actually give a shit about democracy.
In December, she proclaimed that Biden has effectively set a red line for Putin. Last week, New York Times genius Thomas Friedman, idiot that he is, wrote, quote, "If Vladimir Putin opts to back away from invading Ukraine, even temporarily, it's because Joe Biden has matched every Putin chess move with an effective counter of his own."
Yeah, and he did.
No, Joe's playing checkers, and it's already been checkmate. Joe doesn't know it yet. 3 days.
All right. So now Sean Hannity has joined Team Putin, and he's the winner. It's not that he's a lunatic who wants to reclaim Ukraine like Hitler wanted to claim the Sudetenland, and the rest of the world is reacting to it. It's just us, by the way. It's just Joe Biden and his feelings. The rest of the world, the rest of democracies, everybody else is reacting, from Boris Johnson to Macron to Germany. All their reactions that's just noise. Biden is responsible for the fact that Putin, who was buddies with Trump, now that Trump is out of office and isn't going to be given what he wants, has decided to take what he wants. And we're dealing with him as best we can without starting a nuclear war and without creating a NATO-level escalation, which I've yet to hear Sean call for. All his entire plan so far to deal with Vladimir Putin in this situation is to drill everywhere in the United States. It's the Sarah Palin plan. Drill, baby, drill. That's it. That's Sean Hannity's way of dealing with this entire thing. Fuck Ukraine. Fuck their democracy. If people get killed, that's on them.
One fake news CNN analyst tweeted, quote, "Whatever happens in Ukraine, we shouldn't underestimate the fact that the U.S. has retaken the adult share in the world. Biden has restored American leadership, so damaged by Trump. The world needs us, and we have a president who can lead and does lead. They must all be high and hallucinating on..."
Hallucinating? I've never hallucinated. It happens, though.
A president who can lead and does lead. They must all be high and hallucinating on some kind of chemical that we don't have at Fox.
Hallucinating on some kind of chemical that we don't have at Fox. So Sean, you're gonna leave your studio, and more than likely on your way out, or I guess on your way in. I don't know the arrangement of shows on there right now, and I don't really give a fuck. You're gonna run into Tucker. Is he hallucinating on some kind of chemical, or is that just the result of too many Swanson dinners? Is that what happens when you have Salisbury steak every night for 40 years?
Because all of that is garbage. And on Tuesday, Stephen King tweeted, "Mr. Putin has made a serious miscalculation. He forgot he's no longer dealing with Trump." That's right.
Right. Yes. Right. Trump would have just let him do this. Yeah, he wouldn't have even had to bring plasma to the front line if Trump were doing this. Trump would have ordered NATO to stand down or try to dissolve it, or called a meeting for it and basically said it's done and pulled America out of it like it was the Paris Accord.
Not dealing with Trump. He's dealing with the always weak, always predictable, the cognitive mess, Joe Biden. And Biden.
Well, I will say, you know, all stuttering aside, at least Joe isn't hallucinating. You know what I mean? But that's probably because the chemicals they have in the air at Fox News is something they don't have at the White House, at least not currently, or even in Delaware for that matter.
That he'd go toe-to-toe with Vladimir, but now he's barely willing to play footsie as Putin is now rampaging through a major Europe.
Yes, that is true, though. He's not willing to play footsie. Trump was. Trump played footsie with Putin all the time. That was kind of the issue.
Country, how far these ambitions go, these territorial ambitions, that's anybody's guess tonight. So sadly, the question must be asked, where does...
Well, if the territorial choice, that if nobody knows where he's going to go, then no one is responsible except in how they respond to him. So that's the question, Sean. Is he a lunatic who has a Hitlerian view of the landmass around his country? Is he, too clever by half and is reclaiming this as a buffer zone and knows that he's running out of arable land for farm usage, and he wants to use build more gas pipelines around and through Crimea and around and through the eastern part of Ukraine? Or is he just counting on you to carry his balls? That would be that's my guess.
Take a look.
Did you underestimate Putin, and would you still describe him the way that you did in the summer as a worthy adversary?
At the time, I made it clear as an adversary, and I said he was worthy. I didn't underestimate him. And I've read most of everything he's written. Did you read? I'm not a wise guy. You heard the speech he made. Almost an hour's worth of speech is why he was going into Ukraine.
That was a slam on Peter Doocy, and Biden walked it back. Did you read what he wrote? I'm kidding. You don't read. Did you watch TV and see what he said? That's what that was.
He has much larger ambitions in Ukraine. He wants to, in fact, reestablish the former Soviet Union. That's what this is about.
That's probably right. Putin does have ambitions beyond Ukraine. His next target could be, the three...
Yeah, but those, by the way, he didn't have those ambitions during Trump. He just came up with them in the last couple of months. During Trump, he was like, you know what? I'm satisfied with this landmass. That whole dream I've had for years of reconstituting the USSR or reforming Russia based on all the land around it and claiming Lithuania and muscling Finland and Sweden. I didn't really, when Trump was in power, I just felt like, maybe I just felt so loved that I just didn't feel like I had to move on it. You know what I mean? But now that Biden's in there and he's all weak, I'm like, well, I got to do it now.
NATO nations in the Baltic region of Europe, NATO members, that'll get interesting. Then,
by the way, thanks Rallis Mom and Ursi Price for the super chats. By the way, I appreciate you guys. Hold on one second. Let's see if I can bring this up. 1 second. There you are. I lost my little thing.
Magoo.
There we go.
Looking at what, World War III? Unless, of course, NATO's a paper tiger, which unfortunately I have to report tonight is probably a real possibility. And
wait a minute. Hold on. So these are your choices. If we don't go into World War III, NATO is a paper tiger. These are our choices. Launch the nukes, you pussies, is effectively Sean Hannity's plan. This dude used to call the president when Trump was president and advise him. He used to give him an idea of what he should do, how stuff would play in the media. Thank fucking God nobody in the White House is returning Sean Hannity's fucking calls.
We're going to find out one way or another if Biden and Europe fail to get serious and cut off their addiction to Russian oil and gas. So
we don't have an addiction to Russian oil and gas. We're narrowing the sanctions over time because you don't want to isolate them where they're just 100%. They only have a choice of going to Iran, North Korea, and China. You want the opportunity for them to walk back a little bit of this stuff. And you don't want to choke and attack the people out front, because then they'll get on a nationalist footing and then they'll support Putin because they feel attacked. So you gotta narrowcast it in that regard, because a lot of people in Russia, it's one of the only industries that's functional in the whole fucking country. Doesn't mean it's off the table, but you got to walk towards it. You can't do it immediately on day one. You got to go, this is Putin's problem. And then you go stage 2, stage 3, stage 4, and then you leave, because once those sanctions are on. They're not coming off. Ask Iran. Ask North Korea. Sanctions are not tariffs. They are not something you walk back. Because ultimately, what's the fucking point? It takes a while for sanctions to be painful, because you're choking off access to technology, access to money markets, and eventually, after you've eaten all your fucking beans and you're ready to come out of your bunker, if you can't spend your money anymore, that's when it gets tough. But you can't put them on temporarily and then go, all right, you get out and we'll take them off. Because then they can just go, all right, we'll go in and attack. They'll sanction me. Then I'll pull my troops out. They'll take the sanctions off. We'll store up some money and we'll do it again. We'll come back in. We'll do it again. We'll do it. That's how it works. The sanctions stay. The Putin's personal sanctions with his $200 billion that's hidden all over the fucking world, that's really happening right now. And that's going to stay on. That's ugly, and it stays ugly. And again, and this is where I don't know that Sean Hannity understands the difference between sanctions and tariffs.
Every indication is that's not on Biden's agenda. Our own Peter Doocy asking the White House press secretary, Jen Psaki, if the administration would ever consider restarting the Keystone XL pipeline. Here's what she said. Take a look.
No. It's Canadian tar sands oil. Who gives a fuck?
There's this talk about a possible forecast for financial pain. Particularly at the gas pump for Americans. The president said today the notion that this is going to last for a long time is highly unlikely. Would he try to ensure that by lifting some of the restrictions that he's put in place on the energy industry, or rethinking some projects like the Keystone Pipeline?
Well, first of all, the Keystone Pipeline is not flowing, so I'm not sure how that would solve anything. There's also plenty of oil leases that are not being tapped into by oil companies, so you should talk to them about that and why.
Yeah, go talk to the oil companies. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News.
Hold on. That was the fucking bailout? Wait a minute.
Not being tapped into by oil companies, so you should talk to them about that and why.
Yeah, go talk to the oil companies. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click.
That's his fucking out. Meanwhile, also, who else but me is sharing this shit with you guys? I'm serious. Does this come up on any other channels? Do they bother to do this? I've never seen it. And I watch a lot of the same stuff you guys watch. Before I started doing this show, for fuck's sake. And by the way, maggots, explain yourself. Trumpers, why has Joe Biden okayed 34% more drilling permits than Trump did in his very first year? Why? Explain yourself. I'm dead serious. We gotta have a maggot in here somewhere, right? We've got to have some Trumpsters in here. Where are they? Where are you guys? 3,557 permits for oil and gas drilling on public lands in the first year, far outpacing Trump administration's first year total of 2,658. Almost 1,000 more permits for oil and gas drilling. Where are they? There's got to be, somebody was in here saying Trump 2024 or some shit earlier, weren't you? There had to be. I thought I saw one go by. We do have maggots in here. They're around. You're watching right now. Why aren't you typing something? Explain yourself. Trolls, explain yourself. Why are you ashamed? Why are you hiding? Why does this fact not change your mind? Honestly, where is it? Maggots, answer yourself. Answer it. How do I think Trump's hair is fake? I think his entire fortune is fake. Yeah, just saying Trump 2024 isn't enough. That doesn't prove you even speak English. Look, I know you can cut and paste stuff. Explain yourself. Explain why Biden giving more permits for oil drilling on federal lands than Trump by 1,000, right? 900 some odd, is him shutting down American oil and independence. And also, by the way, you do know that America is energy independent right now, right? This is from 6 days ago. Consumption is below output. Look at that. That went down in 2020. There you go. U.S. produced more petroleum than it consumed in 2020, and the numbers were essentially in balance in 2021, according to the Energy Information Administration. This is shit that got set in place under Obama. This started in Obama, with Obama. It's just a rounding error to maggots, right? Trump won't let you talk. You just want this? I'm cheating by using facts. That's true. I'm honest. I'm honestly curious. Keystone Pipeline is not American oil. It's Canadian tar sands, and even the other Canadian pipeline that they have that the Biden administration wants to shut down leaks into our aquifers. It's flooded in Michigan multiple times. It toxifies our waters. Water is way more fucking important than oil always will be. Well, Metal Gaming, at least I know grammar, and that's the important thing. Also, you're not disagreeing with my facts because I'm showing them to you. You have no answer for them. You can't. Yeah, I know. This is just trolling for the purpose. But I appreciate him typing something or her typing something. It's a her, I think. I appreciate her typing something because that engagement helps me with the algorithm. That's true. Don't forget to like and subscribe, give a thumbs up. Honestly, who else is sharing this stuff with you? Who else? All right. So fun. And it's 5:30. I've got radio tomorrow, so I got to get out of here. But can I just leave you with that right now? That the whole oil production thing, the oil and gas companies that have gotten the leases from the Biden administration have not tapped them yet. We are already energy independent, and that is increasing. The only reason why oil and gas, the price is up, is because of a supply shock all over the fucking world, and the OPEC nations and Russia turning down the spigot so the price goes up everywhere else in the world, and all of these companies, even with their leases on public lands, sell it on the open market, and the open market sets the price. That's capitalism. If you have a problem with that, you have a problem with the market. You don't have a problem with Biden's energy policy, because he's got a third more leases for fossil fuel drilling than Trump did. I'm amazed at how fucking lazy the MAGA world is these days. Thanks, guys. Thank you, Mariah and Maria. whichever one it is. I don't want to mispronounce. Trump is scheduled to speak at 7 tomorrow. All right. Well, is he like as a rally or a press conference or some shit? Is he offering to call Putin personally? Oh God, please. So fun. For real. Do you guys even care? Oh, CPAC? Oh, he's speaking at CPAC. I see. That's cool. All right. I'm sure it'll be just as exciting as any of you could hope it would be. Yeah. Hold on. Rigged election. It was so rigged, and it was rigged election, and it was a rigged election. It was a rigged election. 125 jump, explain that. No one was driving, then everyone was driving. No one was flying, then everyone was flying. No one was on a boat, and everyone was on a boat. Cruise ships, tanker trucks, everything was back on the road after not being on the road. The price went down because oil was negative $32 a barrel in 2020. You fucking morons. What do you think that's going to do to gas prices? Of course it was $1.89. No one was driving anywhere. And then you think oil and gas companies are not going to try and make up for the lost profits when oil took a shit during the first year of COVID? Of course they are. Right, I'm explaining it, Astro. Gas jumped to $1.25 because of demand. That's why. Oil and gas companies are making up for the lost revenue. While Trump was president, oil went to negative $32 a barrel. He went to Saudi Arabia and to Russia and told them to lower production. We muscled Mexico into lowering production to get the price back up. And by the way, when oil was negative $32 a barrel, which means somebody will pay you $32 to take a barrel off a ship, we'll pay you to get rid of it. Did Trump fill the national reserves? Did he fill the national oil reserves when oil was negative $32 a barrel? Would that not be the fucking perfect? You've seen Trading Places. Wouldn't that not be the perfect time? No, he didn't. He waited till it was almost $27 a barrel after he talked to Russia, after he talked to Saudi Arabia. So the oil companies would make money on the deal that the American taxpayer was paying for. He gave taxpayer money to the oil companies rather than just buy up supply when it was negative $34 a barrel. For emergencies. Like it fucking mattered, by the way. It's like 50 million barrels or something like that. It was nothing. The taxpayer would have made money on that. He didn't do it. Art of the deal, my ass. He waited until after he negotiated the price up with Saudi Arabia and Russia to get it back above zero. It went to 25, then about 27 is when he started buying barrels with your money to fill the National Reserve. That's the art of the deal? Let's see. I can get something for free, or I can get it for better than free. You can pay me to take it. It's something I know I'm going to need. Now, I'll wait. I'll wait till it's 20. I'll wait till I can give you money. I'll wait till it's over 25 bucks a barrel. Please. Stop kidding yourself. And again, the nice thing is the trolls and maggots that we have among us, bless your hearts. We appreciate you being here. We really, really do. But the fun part for me in all this, not the least of which is that you get to, spread my show through the algorithm because people who watch this also watch this will show up in other people's feed because you watched my show, which, gives me a little bit of a leg up, is that you have to carry this detail around in your fucking head. You can't shake it. You can't, like all the trolls and maggots who are watching the show right now or stumble upon it later or see this clip later on, if they stay this long, which they usually don't. If you have to you're now stuck with the fact that Biden has 34% more oil and drilling leases than Trump did in his first year, which is nearly 1,000 more leases. Biden gave out 1,000 more leases on public land than Trump did for oil and gas. 1,000, almost 1,000 more. 900 plus. And they're still going up. The only ones they're fighting are the ones that'll fuck up the water or the fisheries. Everywhere else, they're handing them out. And they've given out so many, they haven't even used them yet. But the great thing is you can hate me, you can grind about this, you can be very upset, you can feel unwelcome, which you're not. Because I don't dehumanize my viewers, and I jokingly call them names, but, you're welcome here. We're arguing policy, and we're all arguing reality. You have to walk around with this in your head from now on because you stumbled upon my show. Because you watched this show, you're now stuck knowing that Biden has given out more oil and gas leases than Trump did in his first year by almost 1,000, by 34%. 34%. See how I'm repeating the number? So it's stuck in your head. And the next time you're bullshitting somebody about Canadian tar sands oil and Keystone and jobs lost and all, and you're trying to say that. You've said it before. You keep saying it. You hear it on Fox and you're parroting it out. And then you're saying it at the bar or wherever the fuck you say it. And something bounces in the way. Some thought jumps in and goes, well, Biden has given out over almost 1,000 more oil and gas leases than Trump did. So I guess that doesn't make sense. Damn it. That Sparks fella. Oh, and by the way, the reason the number of people crossing the border is recidivism, it's the same people crossing multiple times because we are not releasing them into the country. We are dumping them back into Mexico, and then they try again, and we catch them again, and we put them back, and they try again, and we get recidivism is up 56% from the year before. The actual number of individuals is closer to the number it was in 2019. And if you hate the number and you think it's terrible, then you hate the number that it was the highest under Trump. It actually wasn't the highest. It's slightly below the peak under Trump. Also, the policies of the Biden administration are equal to the Obama administration. And more than likely will be expelling more people than Trump did. So you'll deal with that. That number comes out in about a year, so you'll have to wait on that one. But you can sweat on it, bullshit yourself about it for a while about open borders and stuff, even though Fox News is the only network saying the border is open. And they say it all the time, but no one else is saying it, just Fox News. What does that tell you? Also, 34%. New data, Biden's first year drilling permitting stomps Trump's by 34%. By 34%. Biden has handed out 34% more oil and gas leases than Trump did. And it's so fun that none of this will be able to escape your head. It's going to bounce around in there every time you try to bullshit someone about it. You're welcome. And now I live in your head rent-free. I'm just going to sit here and enjoy it for a moment. It's just good. Trump is good at golf, was golfing a lot, though. That's true. He was cheating at golf a lot. He did love to cheat at golf all the time. You know how bad you have to be at golf to cheat? So, yeah, there you go. Anyways, chat room, you guys have been rocking all day. Susan, thank you for subscribing. Cynthia, thank you for the super chat. Vincent, thank you for the super chat. One for the road. I appreciate that. Bonnie, thank you for the super chat as well. Agent Orange. I like how you spell that. Thanks for the follow on Twitch. Think about subscribing. If you're on Twitch, twitch.tv/HalSparks, use Amazon Prime and you can subscribe and it doesn't cost you a dime. Give it a try. Come on. Because here's the thing. Are you going to just, Trumpers and maggots, you guys have to start subscribing, honestly. Because you can't just listen to your own little cul-de-sac of shit. Where else are you going to hear this kind of stuff where you can give you get an alternate view, and I'm not even dehumanizing you. I make fun of your little cute MAGA name because it's false and you don't really want to make America great again. You shit talk it nonstop, and that upsets me as a proud American. But I get over it. But I'm not here to hate you. And I'm here to, that's the great thing about democracy is we can argue this stuff. Yeah. So subscribe, you lazy fucks.